today's guest, and she is from all the way from the UK. That's right. Your small business podcast has went overseas. I had the pleasure to interview Michelle Anene, and she's a serial entrepreneur. Not only does she own a private concierge company called Shillux Concierge in London, she owns a membership coaching business. And along with this coaching business, she has a virtual assistant agency that the coaches can actually utilize while they are in her training, which is so awesome. Let me just say. She actually just spoke a couple days ago, March the 5th, to be exact, at the Global Women's Summit in the UK, and that actually streamed online. And she spoke at that. She is an awesome awesome woman, awesome entrepreneur. And I just hope you enjoy this episode of us talking about how to establish yourself as a thought leader, what so many people are doing. Um, and thought leader is just another word for influencer. So, of course, we all know here in the States, we have so many people being so many different influencers. There's millions of them, right? But this episode is going to teach you how to establish yourself as a thought leader and get that business started. So, I hope you enjoy this episode. Dig in.
Thank you so much for having me here. How are you?
I am doing awesome. Thank you so much for asking. So
Lovely.
excited for you to be here from all the way from the UK.
I am so excited. Yes,
Yeah.
it's great. I mean, we've had a very good weather today. Unlike the past few days, it's been a nice or like grey weather, but today it's sunshine. So yeah, feeling the groove.
Amen for sunshine. I guess everybody got snow the last few days. Because
Oh
here
yeah,
in the
we have.
States, we got snowstorms. Texas was hit really bad. It was so, yeah, that was all over the globe, I guess.
We also did have snow. I think that was last week and 2 weeks
Hmm.
ago, and it's been like on a constant. Um, Yeah, but I think my girls enjoyed it. I've got a 3 year old and a 1.5 year old. So for my one and a
Oh.
half year old, that was like her first time seeing snow in 2021, and she's like so excited for the snow. She really did like it.
Oh, how sweet.
Yeah.
So that talking about the UK leads me into my icebreaker question for you is when someone visits the UK, what is one of the best sites to go to?
I would say go to the Deep in Hull. It is a very beautiful place to be. If you want a to have the experience of going into a walk-in aquarium, an underground walk-in aquarium where you're able to see the sea creatures in there, big thick glass where you see massive fish and creatures you've never seen in your life, then you want to go in there. Went there with my girls and my husband, I think 2 years ago, and it was bliss. It was lovely. The lighting there were fantastic. You could hear fish sound. Like you think fish can't talk, but they can't talk.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. It's
I
like
didn't even know they make sounds.
like it's so weird, but it's so good. You need to check it out.
Definitely so, especially underground. I know here in the States, we don't have an underground, like real sea, under the sea aquarium.
Really? Oh,
Yeah, no.
this is good. And then they did it so well. Like you could just go in there and it's like nice LED lights in there, like blue lights. You could have a blue room or a pink room, but then you're able to see different shells, massive shells in there, obviously from the sea, but they're all in there. Um, yeah, it's
I
good.
bet that's nice. That's very nice in the UK. So today we're talking about thought leadership. Um, and I know here in the States, we kind of think of it as like influencer. Um, but as far as a thought leader, what is a thought leader?
Yeah. I like how you mentioned the influencers and thought leaders. Like, in a way, thought leaders are could be seen as influencers, but slightly different because I'll say thought leaders are it's the corporate word for influencers. So in the
Mm.
corporate world, like in your industry, influencers could be conceived as thought leaders. but there is a slight difference, right? With influencers, you are able to say something, right? To influence a group of people to actually take action or do something, right? With thought leadership, it's like it's almost similar, but slightly with slight touch to it, where with thought leaders, they are seen as the go-to experts for something, right, within their industry or niche. So basically, they are people who are seen as powerful when it comes to um, their niche, their industry, their expertise. They're
Mm-hmm.
very much knowledgeable. They obviously have an opinion to say about their industry. They have a vision to share. They are innovative. So basically, if you're someone who's innovative, who thinks about new things, you've got new ideas, bright ideas, or new strategies, right? Rather than keep them to yourself, you want to share that with the world or share that with the people within your industry. Say, hey, this is what I've done. But at the same time, with sharing it, you don't just want to share something you just thought about. You want to test, research, and see that it works. You want to have your
Mm-hmm.
facts in place because thought leaders are seen as people who are credible people, people who are knowledgeable, people who are reliable, right?
Yes.
And so, yeah, facts is literally everything, and all boils down to you doing your research.
Yes. Research, research. Now, what if someone knows that they want to be a thought leader, but um, they can't find their niche? How can they find their niche to be a thought leader?
Yeah, if you're just if you want to be a thought leader, you want to find your niche, you're just probably just starting out. It one of the good things I say to people is you want to think about what you are passionate about, what you like, what you enjoy doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't only stop there. You also want to see the relevance of that passion that you've got within the market space, right?
Yes.
And how
Yes.
you can do that is you want to leverage the use of the tool Google Keyword Planner. What happens is you're able to go in there and type what your passion is about in there. And what that does is it generates other keywords related to that passion of yours that people have searched on the Google search engine, right,
Mm-hmm.
to see its rankings. Now, once it pulls up that list of keywords, you want to see the keywords that rank really high, right? Pull them out,
Yes.
pick up a few, probably first 10 or 20 or so, or whatever. And then you want to then see what competitors are probably using such keywords. It tells you in there anyway. It gives the
Hmm.
competitors in there, and you want to research them basically just to see, probably their market value within the industry, their annual revenue that they get within the industry, because you want to vet to see that this passion of yours is profitable. And how you're able to know a profitable niche is if there are competitors within that niche. If people are, if there are lots of competitors in that niche, then you know it's profitable because that's where the money is at. They are
Yeah.
literally making money in there, so it's profitable. And then you might wonder, hey, right, I figured out my passion. I like it. I know what I like. I've seen its relevance, that it's quite good, right? I've looked at the market and can see that we've got competitors in there that,
Mm-hmm.
they're really, really doing great. But then how am I able to compete with these competitors? And that's where finding your gap, the gap in there, to fill the gap comes in. You want to see what the competitors are doing, right?
Right.
And also seeing what they are not doing, but there's still a need for that. And that's where you want to do your research, right? It could be research through like interviewing your ideal clients to ask questions to be able to find out that hole that needs to be filled that other competitors are not doing. It might be through doing surveys, right, where people can answer questions and they're able to find that out. Or it could probably be through, you doing your own research as well.
Mm-hmm.
To get facts and seeing, right, this is a need right here and no one is actually filling the space. And so for me to be different, I want to be able to, um, fill that gap, to be able to stand out. Okay, take for example, I do own a mentorship coaching business, right? I mentor business leaders to scale online. But you might ask, how am I different from the 1,001
Hmm.
coaches in the markets out there? As a serial entrepreneur, I do own a VA agency. And so what I do is, aside me mentoring these elite business leaders to be able to scale their business within 1 to 12 months, right? I also give them access to a team of VA experts where they are able to support them through their journey through the coaching program to be able to get tasks done for them, business tasks done for them within their business, right? And they don't get to worry about recruiting the right persons because we're already vetting the assistants that'll be supporting them in their journey to get tasks done for them in the business. They don't have to worry about cost overhead where they have to spend so much money on people who might probably leave the business and they have to search for someone else because that's already been done for them already. And how I was able to figure that out was I saw loads of people who invest in coaches to support them in their business, and they have to invest an extra or even much more to get the right person, or probably they might even not even have enough to get someone to support them to get the task done, and they struggle, they feel so overwhelmed. And because the work isn't done at the right pace and so
Hmm.
slow, it takes a longer time for them to get fast results, right? And so that was what I saw as the gap in there, and I said, hey, I'd like to fill that gap. And that's what I did to make me stand out from the rest of the other coaches out there. So for you to be able to find that niche of yours, you want to be able to stand out from the crowd by filling that gap in your industry.
Yes, that is excellent points. Because, there are so many business coaches, there's so
Hmm.
many fitness coaches. And you have to find if that's the niche you want to be in, which is an awesome niche, of course.
Yeah,
But you do have to find where you stand out. And that's a great business idea for you to have the business coaching, but then it's like, hey, I can help you get your business started, scale, and I got virtual assistants right here. Oh, that is awesome. That makes you
absolutely.
stand out. Because I think out of all the business coaches I've seen, because they're everywhere. I've never seen that. I have never
Really?
seen that. Yes.
Yeah. So
So
that's
you
good
really,
then. I did a good job.
yes, you did. I've never seen someone having the virtual assistants in a package for you.
Mm.
Yes, that's a great way to stand out. So when that person finds a niche, should they stick to one niche, or can they have multiple niches?
I think it all depends on you as a person and what you can work with. We have people who like go into a niche, and what they do is they stick to it for the rest of their lives, and they turn that into sort of legacy where generations to come within their family, it's passed on, and they get to build that legacy and keep working within that one niche. We have people who are serial entrepreneurs, right, who would rather want to dabble into so many things, right? They want to own several businesses like myself. My first business I had was a fashion um, company where I was a retail company basically, and then I moved over to starting a luxury cleaning business, focusing on the um, elite market. And then I went ahead to start off the luxury concierge and then corporate concierge establishment, and then moved over to starting the virtual assistant agency and then the coaching business as well. And these are all running right now. And you might say, hey, what's going on? What I did was, rather than start all these things at the same time, I always advise that you start one first and set goals in place that will determine what success looks like for that business. What, for instance, an example could be, right, I want to start this, I don't know, coaching business or whatever business. And success for you could be you hitting 1M within 12 months. And you're working towards that, doing things for you to get that 1M, $1 million. Once you get that, you want to move to the next thing that you're passionate about, because people have lots of passion, and rather than sticking to one, they might want to monetize your passion, right?
Mhm.
And so, yeah, that's absolutely fine to do that, but you want to first of all hit the goal of that one passion first, and instead of just turning aside to do the next thing and leaving the first passion behind, You want to ensure that you put delegates to someone who is more senior within your role, who has more experience than you who's more knowledgeable than you, hopefully, right? Who will able
Mm-hmm.
to work with you to set the next goals for that first passion. Maybe the next goal will be hitting 5 million for the next year, right? And KPIs are put in place, and they are working to ensure that they hit that goal while you're focusing on starting your next niche or establishment, focusing on whatever market that you choose to focus on. But again, it's all about ensuring that a plan is put in place to nurture in each, right, before you turn your focus on another. Because it's so difficult to focus on so many things at the same time. But if you
Yes.
have good hands looking over these different niches for you, or businesses for you that are focusing on different niches, then great, right?
Mm-hmm.
Things will definitely work out well for you.
Yes, that's a very good keynote that you made because it's like, if you try three or four different things, you can spread yourself thin. Or one could be doing better than the other because it's hard to focus on multiple things.
Hmm.
But once you meet your goals, you perfect that business or that niche of being a
Mm-hmm.
thought leader,
Mm-hmm.
and then you go on to the next subject, to the next niche. That
Yeah,
makes a lot more it makes it a lot more feasible, I would say, to be able to do. So it's like,
absolutely.
yeah, you don't have to stick to one niche, but get one niche going very well and then go to your next one. Makes sense. So once
Mm-hmm.
you make that decision to be a thought leader, what is the first step when you finally say, okay, I want to be a thought leader about motivation? I want to motivate people. What should I do next once I make that decision?
Okay, so first of all, what you want to do is you figure out your niche, right? You know what you want to do, and you're like, yes, I want to be considered a thought leader. What do I do? First of all, you want to have outlined your ideal client's customer journey, because you want to know what their journey will be like in terms of what they will need across the journey, within the journey with you, right from the start to the mid and then to the final or something. But you want to know their journey, right, so that you're able to then know how you're able to cater for them within these different milestones in the journey. And that's where having research comes in. You want to be able to research so that you're able to create a name for yourself within the industry through researching on content, or creating content that you're able to showcase or share your expertise on within your industry, right? That will be able to provide some sort of informational advice, right, to sort of like a target audience or customer. And then you talking about research. It's not only about research, but you also want to write, right? And you want to ensure that you're writing things like articles or blogs, and but writing so that people can see what you're sharing. And that's where strategic selection of platforms for sharing these write-ups are required. For LinkedIn, you are able to share articles on LinkedIn, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want to also have your blog where you're able to share your articles on blogs, and also trying to guest post as well, so that people on other people's audience that's related to your audience but not on your platform can actually see what you're sharing. You also want to be able to create some sort of strong presence on platforms. If possible, have an omnipresence where you are the first person to share something that's relevant within your industry. You want to actually be ahead of the game. So you don't want to follow your competitors because everyone's talking about, how to get more followers on Instagram, and you're doing the same thing. You want to be able to stand out with your content. You want to be different. You want to be ahead of the game. You want to be the first person who shares something and other people will follow, right? Because a
Yes.
thought leader isn't someone who is sharing the same thing as other people are sharing. A thought leader is someone who stands out from the crowd, who is the first person to share something. Giving an example is someone you giving a content saying, oh, what digital marketing will look like in 2022. Hey, it's 2021 now. How did you know that about that, right? And if you posted something like that, people in the digital space, online world who have businesses who want to definitely know what digital marketing will look like in 2022 so they can start prepping towards that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's all about you obviously research, being in tune with the news, being in tune with laws and regulations that pop up, right, within your industry. If you're in the digital space, you want to be aware about the new laws that are coming in with privacy laws and all that stuff that will rolling out in the
Mm-hmm.
next few months, so that you're able to, when you listen or you read about these things and know, learn about what's going to be rolled out in the next couple of months. Because of your knowledge and expertise within the industry, you're able to do a forecast to see what the end goal is. Why are they actually doing this? What would that mean for my industry? What does that also mean for us as well? And how are we able to use this to our advantage, right? Or what impact will these new laws make on the industry? You want to be the first person to sniff this out and share this. Doing that consistently is one of the ways that people would view you as a thought leader, because they know that you know your stuff, and they'll turn to you for advice, turn to you for questions, right? And because you're seen as someone who is credible with the right credible informations, then hey, you're branded as a thought leader. I don't think thought leaders actually go out, Janice, and say, "Hey, I'm a thought leader," right? I
Right.
think it's other people that just bestow that upon them based on their actions and what they do.
Yes, and the key thing, like you said, is research. Like it really every step that you make is research, I
Yeah,
think. Yeah,
yeah.
that's like the first step is research your niche so you can be on top of all the breaking news and be the first person to get that out because you're right. If you
Absolutely.
look on like Instagram, everyone is talking about the same thing. Like if you're talking about marketing, everyone's talking about making videos and how to
Hmm.
make your videos good, and then everyone's talking about that. But if
Hmm.
you really want to stand out as a thought leader, you got to come with a different angle, um and yeah, to hit that.
Totally.
Yeah, yep. Makes sense. Makes sense. So what are some characteristics of a thought leader? Because everyone can't be a thought leader. If you're someone who's shy, I don't think you're gonna make a good thought leader. So what are some good
Uh,
characteristics of being a thought leader?
Yeah, I think that with being a thought leader, right, you want to be able to form your own opinions and also disrupt thinking, right? So with you doing your research, like we mentioned, you're able to have information to share your vision, share your opinions, regard it beyond societal trends that's currently going on right now, like within society. You want to be able to fire up the industry, to get people talking, get people challenging what you're saying, right? So that you're able to steer discussions and if and be prepared for backlash, because that's what happens with thought leaders within their industry, where you might share your opinion and people might not probably agree with what you're sharing, right? But it's
Mm-hmm.
also about remaining strong with what you share, because everyone has opinions, and you might have your stance in something, right? But again, you want to make sure that you want to have your facts when you're making your opinions. And yeah, people might not agree with you, but hey, that's what thought leaders do. They disrupt thinking, right? At the same time, one of the features or characteristics that you need to have as a thought leader is that you want to um, have the urge and the passion to actually change the world and inspire others to actually do the same thing too. Okay, and that's literally where your influence comes in. Okay, to be able to steer some sort of course towards something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you want to do. You also want to be passionate as well with what you do, because passion is literally everything.
Yeah.
Especially when you're going out to speak or contribute to something. If you don't enjoy doing that, then I don't think there's a place for you as a thought leader, right? You want to
Mm-hmm.
be able to share or speak or do the work, right? And if you're not passionate about that, even though you want to be branded or seen as a thought leader, um, if you don't enjoy that, if you're not passionate about that, you can't last for so long, because then there won't be frequency, there won't be consistency, and if consistency is literally part of the game, right?
Yes.
And if you're not consistent, then hey, it's not just going to work out for you. So you want to be consistent, you want to be passionate. I was talking about passion. I'm not so sure if passion and um commitment goes hand in hand. Because if you what do you think, Janice? Does commitment and passion go hand in hand? Do they go together?
I mean, yeah, I believe so. Because, I
Yeah.
mean, if you're really, sometimes it depends on how big your passion is for something. If your passion is like over the top, I love this, everyone has got to hear this, it can make your commitment a lot stronger.
Mm,
But if you're not committed, I mean, if you don't have passion for something,
mm.
then you probably not gonna have any commitment into doing what you think you're gonna do because you don't really care. You're not passionate. So yeah, I believe it is hand to hand. Hmm.
Nice. Talking about that, let me share this story with you. So this morning, my husband was talking about working out, right? And I'm not a fan for workouts at all. Uh, and I'm like, yeah, because I always I'm the kind of person that tries to work out, and then after a while I take a long break, and then I get back to workouts. And I was like, hey, I was just talking, like all these times I've done workouts this year, I find that I just do it for doing sake because I know I want to hit my goals, but I don't enjoy doing it. How do you find that motivation to do that, right? And I think it also boils down to passion. So if sometimes you might say you're committed to doing something, I'll just do it, but then deep down you're not enjoying what you're doing. But if there's commitment and passion together, right, you then have that motivation all the time. It calls
Hmm.
motivation and it goes a long way, and that helps you with consistency.
Definitely characteristics you have to have to be a thought leader.
Yeah, and
Passion.
one more thing,
Hmm.
Janice, you
Hmm.
also want to embrace controversies, right? So, you don't want to shy away from controversies that pop up. You want to always have an opinion to share about controversies or change or embrace it. But whatever it is that your position is with certain things, right, in the society or within your industry or business, you always want to share.
Exactly, because somebody is going to always say something negative about what you're saying. You're going to
Yeah,
always have a rotten apple somewhere that's like, "No, you're wrong. You don't know what you're talking about." You have those trolls on the internet just typing away
yeah,
behind their screen. So you do have to have, I don't want to say a backbone as a characteristic, but you might have to have a little thick skin
yep,
because everyone is not going to agree with you.
absolutely.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. As far as the internet, since I mentioned the internet and trolls, what are some of the best ways that you can boost your industry presence online? What are some of
Yeah.
the platforms and different things you can do?
I think first of all, you need to have your website. Now, I'm not talking about the usual company website, right? That shows all your services, da da da. You also want to go into what I call personal branding. So you need to have your personal website that showcases you, who you are, what you do, what you stand for, what you speak about, your major topics you speak about at events or whatever, right? Everything about you, like see the website as like your one sheet that has literally everything about you in there, right? So that's what you want to do. But also at the same time, you also want to utilize that website to help to, have your articles and contents and opinions in there. So you're able to have your blog in there. You're able to have your podcast menu in there where you are able to have a podcast. If you see online, almost every thought leader has a blog. Almost every thought leader has a podcast. And you're like, right, why do I need to have a blog or a podcast? The reason is because you want to have a platform that showcases what you're about, your opinions, what you stand for, right? It's all about thought leadership content marketing, right?
Mhm.
And thought leaders use content marketing to for different things. They have different goals, whether it's for lead generation, whether it's for um, getting sales or winning clients or whatever, or just brand awareness. Thought leaders use content marketing, and that's where blogs come in. That's where podcasts come in. Utilizing general social media, right? On LinkedIn, you could post articles there. You want to schedule that in your weekly task to do, where you're able to post a number of articles per week in there,
Mm-hmm.
so people can get to know, read your articles and get to know more about you, right? You also want to leverage platforms like Facebook, right? Facebook groups is a very good one, because I see Facebook groups as your prospect groups. So people who are leads that are likely to buy from you, you want to drive them through into your Facebook group, so you're able to nurture them. And that's very good, because then you're building your audience, all about audience building, right? With
Mm-hmm.
Facebook groups, you can not only build your audience, but build your email list. Email lists are great for businesses, and that all comes through your questions that you ask in there, where you want to letting them know to drop their emails to get free resources from you. It's good that you're building your email list, but you're also growing your audience. And this audience, obviously, if you did the right thing to nurture them, to help them with the questions they have, give advice, support them, build and engage with them, and build a relationship with them, not just any relationship, but a genuine one with them, they
Mm-hmm.
turn raving fans for you. They sing your praises. They're like, "Have you heard about Janice? Janice Martin? Like, she is amazing. She runs this amazing small business podcast. And you need to listen to her podcast." And then they share your episodes with these people that they talk about. They're like, "It's changed my life. It's changed my business." They turn raving fans for you. They talk about you all the time. They talk about the advice you give them and how that's helped them. And that's what you want. You want an audience
Mm-hmm.
that loves you, right? And
Right.
so because of that, you want to utilize Facebook groups or LinkedIn groups, whichever platform that you think your clients work well with or hang out in. For the more corporate people, then the LinkedIn groups is great. Probably like top executives, CEOs, or directors, then maybe yes, LinkedIn groups. For just entrepreneurs, and maybe other classes of business, then you want to utilize Facebook groups for that, right? At the same
Mm-hmm.
time, in boosting your online presence is literally all about collaborations. Collaborations is key. So we have Instagram lives you can share with do with somebody else, where their audience sees you and what you're sharing. Your audience sees them as a win-win for both of you, right? You can do
Mm-hmm.
Facebook collaborations in your Facebook groups, right? Where you can, do things together with other people. You can do clubhouse collaborations, collaborating with someone else to be a moderator for them, or be a host or whatever. But then, because you're tapping into their audience, you're able to grow at your outreach and extend to other people's audiences, most especially if their audience is relevant to you, because that's the most important thing. You don't want to reach an audience that's not relevant to you or your niche or your industry, right?
Mm-hmm.
um Back to blogs again, is all about guest posting and podcast guesting. So yeah, these are one of the things that you want to do to extend your sort of like your online presence. Talking about websites, SEO as well is quite good these days. It's not so, it doesn't give very quick results. It takes some time, but you still get results. It's just you having that patience. And talking about SEO, optimizing, take for example, with when you create your video content on YouTube, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the ways to optimize your content is if your titles for your content are actually have words in there that rank really high on Google. And for you to do that, let's say you think, for example, you want to create content on maybe event planning, for example, and you've done your content, right? But you're looking for a good title that will rank on Google. You want to use a Google Planner, keyword planner, where you put in keywords for your content, and you can generate keywords that rank, and you can see which ones rank really high. Pick a few together, put them together to form a topic, and there you go, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know that's one of the things that people do these days, to help with optimizing their content to be visible on the first two three pages of Google.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Point the SEO.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people always say they don't kind of understand it, but you made it really easy to just do the Google, do the
Yeah,
keyword
it's
search,
easy. Yeah.
pick that keyword, put it in your title, and boom,
Yep.
there you go. And like you said, it does
Yeah.
take time,
Yeah.
but it does eventually work. It's to keep using those SEO keywords in your title and in your blog as
Yeah.
well.
Yes.
In the wording that you're
Yeah.
using to keep using those words. So yeah, that definitely will boost your presence online and all of those platforms, especially
Totally.
like Clubhouse is the new thing right now.
Ooh.
Everybody's on Clubhouse. I'm on Clubhouse. Am I using Clubhouse? No, I need to
You
utilize
should,
that
Janice.
better.
You
I know,
should
I got to
not.
add that to the repertoire right now because, yeah. So really, you need to use all of them: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn,
Omnipresence
blog.
is the way to go. Only, and it's literally about doing that in a smart way. Because again, you're like, hey, there's like 1,001 platforms. It's TikTok. There's this and that. Like, how do I share my time on these platforms? Again, it's all about being smart about it. You can create just one content and repurpose and schedule that on a plan out a scheduling tool that will push them on these platforms. But on platforms like probably, let's say, um, Clubhouse, where you just literally have to speak, right? You can just schedule some time during the day where you can speak. And I think the Clubhouse is obviously 24/7 because, again, it's all
Mm,
about time zones and people's availability. And it's all about creating your events on Clubhouse, scheduling them, and then promoting them on other platforms, so that they are aware and they can put on their calendar for them to tune in. Um, I would also say that you also want to see that with your videos, right? If you have a podcast, you might choose to set some time to do your podcast. But literally, what I do to save myself time is
mm,
my video content is repurposed for to be used as a podcast. So basically, I've got my guy who adds my intros and outro um, music interludes in there. He probably cuts out some parts where I talk about, or tune into my video or whatever. He puts the words for replaces that with podcast because obviously that's what we try to do. But he does that so well that when you listen to it, it's like you Clay had no clue that that was actually video content, right?
mhm.
So again, it's all about being smart, but at the same time, talking about batching your content where you schedule some time to focus on, let's say, week's content. Do that done and dusted, schedule to go out, and yeah, you can focus on other things, um, you know, in your business.
Yeah, that's the best way to go. It's like you said, you do need to utilize really every single platform. And repurposing and batching
Mm,
your information is the best way to go. You can take one blog post and make it into a podcast. You
mm.
can put bits and pieces into Facebook, Instagram. That's really the only way to do it, or you're going to exhaust yourself trying to think of different content for each platform, which is impossible to do.
It is, it really is. And every
Impossible.
time they always roll out a new technology or the other, and the people like go crazy about them. And, you know, makes me think, how relevant will the other platforms be? But hey, let's see, what happens along the lines. But I think that Clubhouse is here to stay. And I also think that Facebook is still going to um, be here to stay still. Like it will definitely still be a very good tool for reaching out to leads and
Mm.
prospecting and getting clients.
Yeah, because Facebook has been here forever. Oh, this might tell how old I am, but I remember when Facebook first came out, and you had to be in college, enrolled in college to get on Facebook.
Really?
Oh, I just said my age. You're like, is that true? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm 30.
Yeah.
I'm 38 over here.
Well,
But yeah,
nice. You
you
don't look
have
38. Well done you,
to.
girl.
I appreciate that. I drink a lot of water. But yeah, that was the criteria. You had to be enrolled in college to be on Facebook the first couple of years or so, and then it was made public to everyone else.
Yeah.
But it has been dang, Facebook's been here for a long time. Because I thought about that with Clubhouse. I wonder how long is this going to really last. But it's going very strong right now. It might be here to stay too. So it's best to, even if a platform has just come out and it's new, it's best just to jump on there while it's hot, get your
Hmm.
content out there, do some speeches or whatever, and utilize everything. Because that was part of my next question was the content strategy,
Mm.
how to make a content strategy. But what would you say is how many times you need to post and blog? Like, should it be every day, two times a week? How often should you be using these platforms?
I would say consistently all the time, like every time. If you ask me to give you numbers, I'll say 21 times a day, right? Like every
Yeah,
hour, if possible. Well, I know obviously some people try to do that, right? Because they batch their content and they're able to schedule that, repurpose things. Yeah, but I would say you want to do that daily. You don't want to miss a day
yeah,
doing that.
you're right.
Yeah,
Not a day should not go by that you're not posting something.
yeah,
Not yeah, every day. And I mean, actually, I think more times a day because I think one time a day is not enough.
it's not at all. It's
No.
not, except if, well, it all depends. Like if you posted and you didn't have any engagements, right? Like for instance on Facebook, if you went into a Facebook group and you posted just one thing, right? And there was literally no engagement in there, Facebook doesn't bump up your post. But if there were every time there's an engagement in there, it gets bumped up. So why I tell people sometimes is when you post the content and there's really no engagement in there, especially when you use utilizing Facebook, within a Facebook group, whether it's yours or someone else's Facebook group, you want to be able to comment on that post. And what it does is it bumps back that post back to the top of the Facebook's group's timeline for people to see and notifies other people within the group that a comment has been posted in there. At the
Hmm.
same time, you also want to probably see, like, probably tweak the post content in there as well. Maybe whatever wordings you use weren't really catchy to spur some sort of engagement, and you want to probably tweak or change that. And when you do, that helps to boost engagement and can help to
Hmm.
also bump up your post on Facebook.
Definitely, definitely. So I've noticed too that if you post something and if you don't have any body say anything, if you just go back and like your own post, it will notify that you like this
Yeah,
post, and then
yeah,
people will be like, oh, what does she like? And then
yeah.
they can see it. So
They
even if
see.
you just do that, it will boost it up. But
Yeah,
engagement is the key to all of the platforms. Once people start engaging,
absolutely.
automatically boost you up.
Yeah.
um, so how can you turn this thought leadership business or niche into a business? How can someone actually make some money being a thought leader?
Right. There are quite a number of ways. Um, with mentioning thought leadership is all about sharing your expertise or knowledge on within your industry, right? And if you're able to do sort of like because you're creating your content and you're placing them in your blog, for instance, right? You're able to get other people to post for you on your blog. So to post the content on your blog. And what happens is because you are seen as the go-to expert and a thought leader, people want to associate with you. They want to, build that association with you. And so they would rather prefer to post their content on your blog because again, you're building an audience, a following, and they want to resonate with you, right? They want to be associated with you. And so what you can do is monetize your blog, that if people want to actually post on your blog, that you pay for that. Another way you can actually monetize this is if, like on Clubhouse, we have moderators who are paid to come give information on a platform, on a in a room,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you can be a paid Clubhouse moderator as well, who just come speak. So you can probably pay to speak for maybe an hourly rate or probably just a one-time project rate, right? Whichever. But people get paid to speak on Clubhouse. You might even be a paid speaker where people will reach out to you and say, "Hey, we've got this summit or this retreat, and we'd like for you to come speak," and you say your rates, right? And that way you get paid to come share your knowledge, share your ideas in there. So yeah, people also create ebooks. You can monetize your ebooks, or
Mm,
right that way. So you can create ebooks and monetize that as well.
right. That's why I need to get on Clubhouse and really utilize that so I can get paid to talk. That's
You
awesome.
need to, girl. I
That's
see
what
so many
I need to
people
be
on
doing.
Facebook saying, "Hey, I made this amount of money. Oh, I did this. I was able to make 10K just by speaking on Clubhouse, right? But again, it's not just with being paid. It could be people trying to collaborate with you to say, "Hey, come speak on my um in my room," and you get paid for that. It could probably be you probably creating your event that's a paid event,
Mm,
right? But it's a closed room on Clubhouse. People want this information so badly that they're going to share in the event that they don't mind paying to actually come in to listen, right? And when you do that, obviously that's monetization. You're monetizing Clubhouse. You might not actually use Clubhouse, you might probably want to use Zoom because it's a closed space, right? You talk about, you advertise or let people know about something you'll be talking about, and letting them know there'll be opportunities for Q&A where they can ask you questions. And because you're a thought leader, someone who's a go-to expert, they are able to receive first class advice or information from you. And they want to receive that. So they're happy to actually pay to ask you whatever questions that they have that will
mm.
help them in their business or industry. So yeah.
That is some awesome tips. I hope you listeners are listening to that and writing that down and taking those notes. That is how you can make some money being a thought leader. Yes. Well, Michelle, I thank you so much for being on the show. I
Oh,
definitely got to
thank
have you back
you.
on again because there's so much that we can talk about. So much.
Absolutely.
So we'll be making another one soon. But I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Janice, for having me. Really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to coming back here soon.
Welcome back, friends. Hope you enjoyed episode 10 of your small business podcast with Michelle and Nene. Make sure you look at the show notes because her links are in the show notes. And also, since my audience is the most awesome audience ever, right? Michelle has decided to give us her free. Now, you know we like that four-letter word free. Her free CEO planner. You get a free copy. And this planner will boost your productivity and up level to enjoying 20 hours or more free time per week in your personal and professional life. Now that sounds really good to me. So make sure you get a free copy of the CEO planner that will help you get more time, more free time. Because if you plan correctly and plan strategically, you can, wind up with more time for your family and yourself. So this will be a great planner to utilize, friends. Well, I am hoping you all have an awesome rest of the week. And I will actually see you Thursday. That's right. I am now making 2 episodes a week instead of one. I'm having so many people want to come on here that I now have to make 2 episodes a week. I was starting to schedule people out as far as May and June. And I just don't want people to wait that long to air, on the show. So I said, okay, I'm going to have to make 2 shows a week instead of one. So that's right. You will hear me again on Thursday. Aren't you excited? Well, I'm excited to talk to y'all. So see y'all Thursday. Thursday, friends. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you later. Bye.